Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Q&A show on Inside the Birds platform, YouTube channel. My name is Jason Avant. I'm one of your hosts. I'm here with my main man, Quintin Mikell. Q, say what's up to the people.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back. It's been a great weekend.
Your
Great
boy Genty didn't
win
get it,
last
though.
night. I
Your
know.
boy Genty didn't get it. He played
I know, man. There's some
any
haters, man.
other year. Any other year, the dude would have won it. It's just that it happened to be a dude that's playing 150 snaps a game.
Yeah. I mean, I can't argue with it. I mean, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, it sucks, man. It would have been nice to have someone in BSU history to have a Heisman. That would have been really cool. But
Yeah.
he got
It's
second, so we'll take it. We'll take
it's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
it.
Before we get into it, thank you to Adam. Thank you to Jeff. Thank you for the fans, everyone that tunes in. There's so many people that come up to me on a daily basis saying that we love the Q&A show. So we appreciate you guys for tuning in. All the fans that told me yesterday at the stadium that you guys tune in, we appreciate you guys. Anything else I'm missing? All right, the Birds laid the spank down on the Steelers, a playoff team, a team that was, red hot coming into the game. Most people thought that Russell Wilson will continue his undefeated streak against the Eagles. He was 6-0 prior to the game that just happened. Now he is 6-1 versus the Eagles. The Steelers have not won in Philadelphia since 1965. It's been a long time coming. So they have another 8 years to wait and sit on that loss against the Birds. Q, what's your thought on this win, 27-13 win against a really good Steelers team?
Yeah, man, this was a beautiful win. Just across the board, just uh I wouldn't say total domination, but a um just a fabulous win. I mean, this is a good team. This is a hot streaking team in the Steelers. And they got a very good defense, seasoned quarterback, good offensive weapons, good schemes, consistent head coach. And the Eagles came in and they were hitting on all cylinders, man. I mean, across the board. And the thing that really showed to me, I would say this was probably the first game where it was like everything was hitting. Um, Offense, defense, special teams, everything was on point. And yeah, I mean, I can't say enough about this team. I think they're ready to go, man. They're ready to fire off.
I know you didn't want to say it, Q, but this was a smackdown. This was a who's your daddy type of a game. It's just the
Absolutely.
truth. The truth is that this was total domination. And I disagree with you on this one. The reason I say it is because the Eagles had the ball for 40 minutes of that game in comparison to the Steelers' 20 minutes,
Wow.
right? They had 26 first downs compared to the Steelers' 10 first downs, right? They were
Wow.
10 for
Yeah.
17 on third down in comparison to the Steelers' 3 for 10 on third down. They totally dominated this game in every fashion. And then to make it even worse, your head coach who knows defense. Think about this. In a 4th and 1, what's the Eagles going to do? 4th and 1 offensively, what are we going to do?
Sneak it.
We're going to tush push because that's what? Our identity. That's
Hmm.
become our identity, right?
Yeah.
What do the Steelers do when they feel like they can climb back in the game? They're going to punt the ball and play defense rather than going for it on a 4th down because the Steelers are known for what? Defense.
Yeah.
I rely on my defense. He punched the ball to us, probably should have went for it, punched the ball to us. We end the game on a 10-minute drive. That's total domination. That is, because that's literally bullying the bully because that's what they want to do. Oh, you want to give us the ball back? Let me show you something.
Yeah.
You guys are not big enough, strong enough. You can't tackle well enough. So many times our guys was in space with their guys, and our guys were just better.
Yeah.
So I believe that was total domination. I thought that the Eagles put the league on notice. I think everybody watching that game on Sunday said, you know what, that's the best team in the NFL.
I agree.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
I was excited about that. I was excited about that. And listen, we get on the guys when they aren't playing well. Jalen played a D game last week. A D game versus who did they play last week? The Panthers. Played
Panthers,
the
yeah.
Panthers last week. D game versus Panthers last week. He played an A game this week.
Yeah, he did.
He played an A game this week. So listen, I'm gonna build you up. You did. You came out there and you did it. We're gonna get to the offense a little bit later on, but let's get right into it, Q.
Yes, sir.
Did the Eagles prove that they're the best team in the NFL? Did they prove it to everybody else?
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, just like I said earlier, I was alluding to just a complete package. I mean, coaching, they got depth, they got special teams, you got Jalen hitting on all cylinders, you got running game, you got an offensive line that's dominating, you got defensive line dominating, you got linebackers flying around, you got DBs, you know, putting hands on people, getting in the route lanes, covering, lockdown corners. I mean, just across the board, this team is the team to beat. And then you couple that with the fact that, you see teams like Detroit who is still winning, but the injury bug has hit them hard, man. They're dropping like flies in Detroit. Um,
They curse.
yeah.
Detroit, the first time they get a chance to have a championship team, and I'm like, what is going on? Like this, you can't get right.
It's crazy.
Yeah,
You know, it's
they done did something to somebody back in the day.
maybe they curse
Yeah,
from Megatron, Megatron curse.
Barry Sanders, Megatron curse, they still going on. Go ahead.
But
No,
yeah, man, so
the no help curse.
well, yeah, man, this is the best team in NFL, and I can't see anybody just coming into the league and coming out with a win. Playoff season once playoff starts. So yeah, I'm excited, man.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just piggyback on you a little bit, and but the word that you said that kind of stood out to me when you were responding there, you said depth, right? Just think about this. There's times in the last few games, Darius Slay goes out of the game. You don't necessarily know he's out of the game. Our lineman, Landon Dickerson, went out of the game. Tyler Steen comes in and plays. You know that Dickerson was out, but it still was serviceable. Still had time to throw. He couldn't block Big Cam Hayward, but he was fighting for his life in there. And it was good enough. Fred Johnson comes into the game. Saquon goes out. Gainwell plays unbelievable. Like
Yeah.
just think about Dallas Goedert's out. Grant Calcaterra comes in. Like whenever someone goes down, with the exception of AJ Brown, we got a good shot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, Lane and AJ. If Lane and AJ is in the game, the Eagles got a really good chance. You know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
let me hold on. Let me knock on some wood
Yeah.
here. Yeah. All right. So, yeah. So let's keep it going. All right.
Yeah.
Eagles defense. This one's for you, Q. What and who stood out in the Eagles holding the Steelers to just 163 yards of total offense, 56 yards of rushing, 107 yards of passing for the game? Like what stood out? How did this occur? What happened?
I mean, that front, this defensive front, I mean, they must have got challenged this week because
Mhm.
they knew, like you said, I mean, the Steelers been the same brand of football for years, right? They're gonna run the ball, they're gonna play defense, they're gonna take shots down the field. And, from the outset of the game, this defensive line controlled the line of scrimmage. Um, penetrating, physical, getting their hands
Mhm.
on offensive linemen, getting off blocks, flying around to the ball. I mean, it was just across the board. It all started with that front. And another thing that I'll add to it as well is all the batted balls. I mean, Russell Wilson, and this is something that we always stressed when I was playing, for the defensive front. Like Russell gets the ball off fast. He knows where he's going to go with the ball, right? So you can get a good pass rush. You don't want to get up the field and create lanes. But if you feel like you're not going to get there, we always used to say, get your hands up, get your hands up. And then I probably counted probably like 4 or 5
Yeah.
batted balls in
Yeah.
critical situations. And that was huge. And
Yeah.
so, just that defensive front is really setting the tone for this entire defense. And once those guys started to kind of congeal together and play off of each other and play physical downhill, this entire defense went to another level. And yeah,
Yeah.
that all started there, man.
The defensive front. And I agree with you. And I'm gonna take it a little bit further. I think it's the middle push that changes the game, because that's the most uncomfortable the quarterback is going to be. Is that when you got Milton Williams and you got Jalen Carter that's pushing the pocket straight up the middle, which causes Russell Wilson to not be able to step into throws or throw off his back foot. But also you got smaller pass rushers on the outside that plays right into their hands of going around the edge. Just think about Nolan Smith and Sweat. Like when they get to the quarterback, is usually on the edges, and the reason they're able to get to that is because the quarterback has no place to step up. He only can retreat sideways toward those guys. So that combination works really, really well. Nolan Smith has a motor like no other. The dude can be
Yeah.
like at the line of scrimmage and then making a play on the sideline, getting his hands up. He's starting to become he's getting into his bag. Brandon Graham not being there kind of helps him play more football, and he's starting to figure it out as we are watching him in these last few games. So I think that's huge. The tackling is just unbelievable. That's the
Yeah.
thing that you notice. The reason you notice it so much is because the Eagles players, the offensive players, were in space a lot this game because how quickly Jalen was getting the ball out and how well they were able to make guys miss and matriculate the ball down the field, breaking tackles and shaking people. You don't
Yeah.
see the same thing on the opposite end.
Yeah.
There's one-on-ones where guys are being put down. Zach Bond putting them down. N'Kobe Dean's putting them down. Cooper DeJean's putting them down. Like they are putting guys on the ground and they're running to the ball. They're playing on fire. People are not even testing Quintin Mitchell much at all. There's
Mm-mm.
times where dudes are literally wide open on this side, but it's like they're not even looking over there. And it's
Yeah.
not that they ran a great route or anything. He's looking in the backfield like, oh, they're not going to throw it over here. You know what I mean? So he's like, all
Yeah.
right. He's starting to get to that point, like they're not even trying it over here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so when you add the elements of all of these things happen, excellent coverage on the back end, competitive coverage, defensive front with the middle push, the outside rushers that complements that going up the field, and then great tackling. That's what you come out with. The defense that's balling like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And one play that really kind of was like what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of showed how much this defense cares was on that flea flicker. Did you see Zach Bond?
You see how fast he got back out there and read it?
Yeah.
Oh my, that was just a great play by Calvin Austin. It was a
Yeah.
great play by him, but 75% of the times that ball does not get caught because how well Zach Bond played the flea flicker.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that was an unbelievable play. Remind me of the play where he broke up that corner route earlier in the year.
Yeah. It was like 2 or 3 games. Who was that? I
No,
know what
that
you're
was
talking
early
about.
in the year. That was early in the year.
Yeah.
But yeah, it may have been the first time we played the Commanders.
Yep. Yep. I think you're right.
Yeah, or the Falcons, but I'm not sure. But yeah, it
I
was
think
like
it's
a night
Commanders.
game at home.
Yeah, man. So
Yeah,
I love it. I love it. Love to see it, man.
yeah.
All right. Let's
Jags. He said Jags. Probably the
Was it
Jaguar
Jags?
game. Yeah, Jaguar game.
Uh,
Jaguar game. But yeah,
Good
remind
memory,
me.
man.
But that was a great play. All right, so it's on you.
Yeah, so this one's for you. If you were an offensive coordinator, how would you try to move the ball versus the Eagles? And is there a weakness?
um, if I were an offensive coordinator, how would I try to move the ball against the Eagles? Hmm. I would literally play the game with my running backs and play the game with my tight ends. And I would try to use bunch formations. Um, I wouldn't play I wouldn't play a ball game like the Steelers where you got guys, a bunch of guys outside and they're the number one targets. My game would be in between the hashes versus the Eagles, and it'll be mainly passing, trying to get one of my best receivers on Gardner Johnson, one of my best receivers on Blankenship, making the linebackers cover the running back, stuff like that. I would run things of that nature, crossing routes, posts in the middle of the field, bang eights from tight splits, stuff like what the Rams did. They gave us some problems earlier in that game. So I think that's the only way the Niners type offense that gives this team a problem. So yeah, I would make the game smaller rather than going out there versus Q and Darius Slay and having all that pass rush. Most of my stuff would be off play action, trying to get the linebackers up and over the middle of the field. So that's what I would try to do.
Yeah, I agree. You gotta get those linebackers. You gotta get them moving, getting their eyes in the
Yeah,
wrong spots, stuff like
a
that.
lot
Yeah,
of lot of motions, a lot of deception in passing in the pass game with that type of thing. Yeah.
that makes sense.
But it would be small. It'll be all bunch formations, cut splits, that type of stuff. You'll be irritated playing after that. Because that's the worst for the defense, playing in that playing against that junk all game. Like the secondary, they hate that.
I can't stand it. You
They
can't
like
get.
it's sort of like playing. It's like play football like a man.
Come on outside. Stop going down there in motion.
Yeah, it's not good. Come on out here and play football like a man.
I used to
It's
hate
like
that was Chucky Gruden. That was his thing, man. Gruden, all the damn shifts and motions
yeah,
and
the
bunch
most,
formations. I used to
yeah.
hate playing them.
All right, Q. This question is for you. Is this a better example of coverage and pass rush complementing each other than the 2022 defense that was built on breaking a sack record? One team is basically defensive line and pass rush dominant. This team right here is kind of doesn't have all the greatest sacks, doesn't have all the most interceptions, but they play good defense.
Yeah, I think this unit really meshes well. They play well off of each other. I think, the addition of Cooper at that nickel position,
Mm-hmm.
Quinyon stepping in and he's getting better and better each week. Reed stepping in and he's playing smart, confident football. And then of course that front, I mean, the front is phenomenal. And I do think that that 2022 team, they had a lot of sacks, but they at times could, put the secondary in tough situations. I think this is a better example because they shut the run down. They shut the run down on the way to the quarterback, which is, more conducive for just a productive championship type of team. And
Mm-hmm.
so I do think that this is better. I would personally enjoy playing on this one, this type of with this type of a front as opposed
Yeah.
to back at 22 because one of the worst things as a DB
Time.
is you backpedaling 10 yards and then you got a running back screaming down before you can even get into your break and he's running full speed at you. So I'm
Yeah.
definitely I'm definitely more on board with this type of defense.
Yeah. They're more sound. They're more sound. This defense is they're more sound. Like you don't see teams even trying reverses and
Mhm.
misdirections on them because of how disciplined they are. That 2022 team, they would give up a 10, 15, 20-yard gain every time somebody did a misdirection play.
Yeah.
Because you guys remember Hassan Reddick
Yeah.
constantly getting beat on reverses. Like I'm like, dude, how many damn times you need to see this reverse? You know what I mean? It just was happening. They were just trying to get their bread out there,
Yeah,
trying to get some sacks, But this defense is much more disciplined,
absolutely.
and teams are going to try them a lot more. So I'm looking forward to see them prove it.
No doubt, no doubt. All right, so next one. We'll go to the
Mhm.
next one. All right, this one's for you. Do you think the Lions or the Bills would be able to score 20 plus points against this Eagles defense?
Oh, no
Ooh.
doubt, no doubt. Hold on. Let's get something straight. I love this defense, and I think that the defense. Um, I think there's going to be certain games in order to win a Super Bowl that the offense is going to have to do what the defense has done most of this year. The offense is going to have to get into the 30s. And I think when you start considering teams like the Lions that has, an elite play caller in Ben Johnson, has an elite route runner in Amara St. Brown, which will give Cooper DeJean the flux. I know Cooper is a young up and coming star, just the body type, the strength, the running back background with the subtle movements. That's just a nightmare to go up against. It's tough. That's
Yeah,
not an easy matchup for Coop. So, and then Sam Laporta on our safeties. Come on, like that
yeah.
right there. Like they have a lot of matchups, and then you got Jameer, Gibbs
Gibbs.
on our line. And with an offensive coordinator that knows how to use it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? So we're going to have to get up into that 28, 29, 30 point offensively. And if we can hold that team under 27, 24, you know what I mean? Something like that, that should be good enough to get a win versus that team. If we come out and do what we have to do offensively, especially with all the injuries that has happened on the Lions team and how bad the Buffalo Bills defense has looked most of this season. The Buffalo Bills have to score 40 points to win right now. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So our offense is going to have to get up in the 30. I don't think any team's going to get over 30 on us, but I think that we can easily get 30 or plus on their defense. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah.
So the bit and Josh Allen, and his group, and using the tight ends, using the backs, and just his to be faster than all of your linebackers, strong, stiff arm defensive lineman. Like he's gonna score points. So our offense just can't be in the doldrums in the first quarter thinking that we're going to be able to do that. Maybe our defense holds in there, but those teams are going to score some points. The
Yeah.
Vikings are going to score some points. The Bills are going to score some points. The Lions are going to score some points. They're going to score some points. Yeah. Yeah.
Dang. I
Yeah.
don't
So
like the sound of that.
no, I'm not. But here's the thing: their defenses are bad. It's the Vikings are. The Vikings defense is really good, actually. Um, the Vikings defense is actually really, really good, and they got two really good receivers, and a good tight end. So there's a lot of teams out there that can play. I just think overall we have the best combination of both sides of the ball.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yep. Let's transition right into the Eagles offense, Q.
All right, cool. How important was it for the Eagles to come out with a more pass run balance early in this game? And what did it do for Jalen Hurts?
I thought it was based on the team. So remember earlier in the year when we were talking about, oh, the Ravens is the number 2 rushing defense, and I told you they're really not the number 2 rushing defense. It's just that their passing defense sucks so bad that everybody passes the ball on them, and therefore their rushing defense just moves up the charts because
Yeah,
everybody can pass on them. The Steelers, on the other hand, like the number 5 ranked rushing defense, is a legit rushing defense because the way that Cam Hayward and the guys up front like control the blocks and allow the linebackers to have free runs and be able to shoot gaps, right? So this team running against them it's a chore. It's tough, right? You're going to, Saquon couldn't really pop one like he
yeah,
normally does. And that was the difference. The 19 rushes, 60 something yards, but he couldn't really pop one the way that he normally does. And a testament to the Steelers are. So you knew that you were going to have to pass the ball, and now what the Steelers do, they're super vanilla. They're super vanilla on the back end. And Jalen was able to get the ball out to a target right away. He was on target. He was on time. And guess what? When those two things happen, on target and on time equals yards after catch.
Yeah.
Equals yards after catch. So you see our guys, Gainwell, catch the ball 2 yards in the flat, end up getting a 17, 18-yard gain. Devontae Smith, how many catch and runs did he have that was 3-yard pass that ended up being 20-yard explosive play? A.J. Brown on the sideline on a basically smash concept, corner route and a hook outside hitch route. He goes and takes that for 15, like slant, end up taking it for 15, 16. This play, all the plays were catch and runs because Jalen was able to get the ball out, and it was definitely needed because of the style of defense. And here's one thing that you don't see all the time is that Jalen was able to pick apart zone coverage really easily in comparison to the only other game that he's had like this was the Bengals game, where he was able to pick them apart. Both teams super vanilla because their pass rush gets there, but our offensive line kind of dominated the Steelers. They gave up 3 sacks, but they really dominated the Steelers overall because Jalen had all day to throw pretty much most of the day.
He did.
Yeah.
So it was like a combination of kind of base secondary calls with some good, good
some
offensive
really
line play.
offensive line play and great game plan by Kellen Moore. And very
Yeah.
decisive by Jalen Hurts. You can't take anything away from him. He was decisive. He got the ball out. He understood where they were going to have holes, and he delivered the ball. They had a lot of slants, shallow crosses, short hooks in the middle of the field, things like that. And I knew we were in for a treat because they ran stick knot on the first play, and Jalen
Yeah.
threw a dot.
Yeah.
Threw a dot, and it was good because it was the way that they did it, right? They were able to get the ball on the left hash. They were able to run it to the field. They were able to put, some playmakers over there to the right and bring Fitzpatrick down into like the nickel position, and therefore, or not the nickel position, but the safety coming down to the strength right there. So now he's not the one that's on the post. So just a great game plan. That was good. That was a good call by the offense coordinator. Get him off the post because he got a chance to pick it and throw that seam there. So when he completed that pass, I was like, oh, they in for one today. they in for one today. That wasn't an easy throw, So and he made it look easy.
I love that throw. The 2 other throws that I really loved was the check down to Gainwell, because a lot of times, for check downs, a lot of times the quarterbacks will kind of loft it out there, and he put that one on a dot, and it gave Gainwell enough time to be able to catch it and then make that move and gain about 15, 20 yards.
Yeah.
And then my other favorite throw was the first touchdown off the RPO, because his body, everything's moving the opposite way as
Devontae.
AJ's running that glance route.
The little stalk and glance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are phenomenal throws. And so yeah, I agree with you. As soon as I saw that stick nod and then a couple of those other throws, I'm like, oh yeah, he cooking today.
He threw a back shoulder for the first time in weeks to A.J. Brown on Joey Porter Jr. Perfect throw. Throw. They haven't been able to hit that in since the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was a good thing. Let me ask you this question. How were the Eagles able to find openings and move the ball against the Steelers defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think you just hit the nail on the head. I mean, kind of a base secondary calls, a lot of open lanes. I don't particularly think. I think Queen played okay.
Queen was getting killed.
Who's the other linebacker? Both of them.
No, Queen was getting his butt handed to him with 50. You talking about 51, 50?
Yeah, I think 50. I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Yeah, the linebackers were, I mean, they were nowhere to be seen. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah, I mean, I think it was kind of a combination of all those things, and poor linebacker play, base calls, and just, I mean, this 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 Eagles receiving core is just one of the top in the league. I mean, they got playmakers across the board, and like you said, anytime you can put the ball in the money and then short pass and it turns into a 15-yard gain, you're gonna be successful. So. I think
Yeah.
that's really all that kind of came together for them.
Yeah. You're talking about Elandon Roberts, number 50.
Yeah, man, he looked bad.
Yeah, shoot, you should have seen what's the name. Because I thought Patrick Queen was a lot better in coverage than he was. He was getting the blues handed to him on them crossers because you know what that is. You know what it is. The Steelers try to be so physical at the line of scrimmage, and so they're trying to reroute people and all that stuff. And our guys are running fast. So by the time he reroute the tight end, Devontae Smith running past his face, and he like, oh snap, 20 yards. You know what I mean? So it was stuff like that. Is that you make that physical nature team play in a style that they don't really want to,
Yeah.
and that's what it came down to.
Yes, sir.
Um, yeah. So
Yeah.
so that team, I wanted to say also that team is used to dominating up front. They're used to Highsmith dominating, Hayward dominating, Herbig dominating, TJ Watt dominating. So when teams dominate up front, they don't like to give up big plays,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? They'll bend but don't break because they're saying, okay, we're going to bat a ball down. Okay, we're going to get a sack. They're going to be in a third and long. So they play very conservatively. But what happens is when the offensive line is just as good as their defensive line, now there's going to be lanes in the back end with that very conservative coverage, and Jalen was able to make them pay.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You dig it?
Yeah, it's crazy. It seems like that division is geared to stop each other. Like, you know what I mean? It's like geared to stop their teams. But like when you don't play football the way that they play football, it's kind of tough for
Yeah.
them. You know what I mean?
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
it's
That's
weird.
that's all. I've always been fascinated by that when teams do
Yeah,
that. Like the AFC, they're geared to, like you said, to attack and to compete against AFC North. And then, all in all, the Chiefs, right? That's the team that's been dominating the
they
AFC.
dominate.
So
Yeah,
all the teams they're kind of designed to compete with them. So
to be
yeah,
with them. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, I like that. All right, next question.
Oh yeah. This one. Okay, this one's yeah. You go ahead. This is you. I think.
Yeah, so from an offensive player's standpoint, how difficult was it and how impactful was it for the Eagles to run a 21 play drive to end the game that covered the final 10 minutes and 29 seconds?
It's demoralizing. They picked up like three third and longs in that drive. They tush push, to keep the drive alive. They had him stop multiple times, and then Jalen just checked the ball down, and the guy was able to figure out a way to get close to it or pick it up. Um, and here's the thing is that they refuse to play man to man like you thought that they would. And you know what happened when they did? They did it one time in that fourth quarter, at the beginning of the fourth quarter, maybe it was the late third quarter. They played man to man, and doggone Kellen Moore motioned the running back out always to right. Patrick Queen went with him. Jalen Hurts runs for a 23-yard gain up the middle because the safety is all the way back, right? That was one of the only times that they went exclusively man. And Jalen burned them for a big gain. They're like, hey, we can't keep doing that. So now they're in defenses that are advantageous to the Eagles offense. And even though that they're trying to stop the run now, that big old team, they're gonna wear you down eventually. They're gonna
Yeah.
wear you down. That line gonna wear you down eventually because y'all on the field so long. So yeah, and the Eagles begin to run the ball for a few first downs. We're able to throw it, check it down in the flat for a few first downs. Got lucky with the AJ Brown fumble on the sideline. Yeah, but overall they were dominant.
Yeah.
Yes, demoralizing. Like I said, that's what the Steelers are known for. And you probably can speak to it too.
Yeah, no, that's one of them. You dead tired by the end of the drive. You ready? You cursing the coaches out in your head. You're like, man, why are we calling this again?
Yeah.
Like it's demoralizing, man. And that was definitive way to end that game. And yeah, man, I just got flashbacks to some terrible memories. Not being able to get off the field on third down, and it just seems
Oh,
like no
that's the
matter what you
worst.
do, no matter
That's the
what you
worst.
do.
It's bad for y'all. It's annoying for us too. Like, man, dang, how many third downs y'all gonna give up? You know what that was like? When you playing like Brady and Peyton Manning. Oh my God, them two dudes convert all the third downs. We third down alert. We were like, man, we ain't punting. It's 3rd and 2. You know they got something for 3rd and 2. Like,
Yeah,
like them teams, like getting to third down was hard enough.
yeah,
With them quarterbacks, getting to
yeah,
third
yeah.
down was hard enough. And then for them to go, 7 for 10 on third down, like you'd be like, man, come on, man.
And it's because you know it's about to happen. It's gonna be a 3 yard out route, and he's gonna put it on the money. We can't
You
because of
can't
the
defend
scheme, the
it.
way you can't defend it, and they
Yeah,
okay
like
taking it.
yeah, he gonna be on time, and it could be great coverage, but it's gonna be right at the end of his hand. He gonna be like, "Ugh." I used to always say that about Brady. I like, dude, like you can just stick your hand out and like he didn't need great receivers. It was
Mm-mm.
good for him to have them. He didn't need them. He needed guys that can get on the right side of the ball, the winning side. So if it's an out route, they beat him outside. If there is in, they beat him in. But they don't need he don't need a bunch separation. Them
Mm-mm.
boys just turn around and do like this, and it'd be like, you remember Peyton Manning's fade route? That thing was perfect.
Yes.
His fade route was perfect. I'm talking about the dude, the receiver, never did a move. He just ran around you to a spot, and the ball was right there. I'm like, how in the hell are they doing this well?
I used to hate playing them too, man.
Oh my
God.
gosh. I was like, dude, that's I'm talking about they would do no release moves and just run around you and like, hey, I'm gonna put it right there between like the helmet and right there. They have a little marker somewhere out there, like, hey, it's right there on the horseshoe. The horseshoe right there. We're gonna put it right there.
Hey man, and then try being in the secondary. Like the second you was scared, you'd be scared to move. Like the second you take a step down, he start checking stuff. You're like,
Yeah, check
oh
it
shit,
out.
here we go.
They got us. You know what we're doing. Oh, that's funny stuff. All right, let's get this last one, Q.
Oh man. Yeah, we already kind of handled that. I'll get you this one.
Okay.
How important is it for coaches to use the passing game as a springboard? Should there be a better pass run balance going forward?
No, I think it should be whatever dictates the game, right? So the Steelers came out, and even though the Eagles passed it a bunch, they still ran the ball and they weren't successful at it. And they didn't give up on the run game the entire game. They still had, for that team that doesn't give up 100 yards rushing, the Eagles were able to get, I believe, 100 or 160, something like that. Ended up being 130 yards, right? So that team doesn't give up. I believe they give up like 90 rushing yard or less than that. Like 90 total rushing yards a game or something like that. So I thought that was good for the team that they played, and they didn't give up on it. But whatever game that they need to play in order to win, that's what I say you do. Because
Yeah.
there's going to be some teams that are just hell bent on stopping Saquon Barkley. And that's what the Steelers were. The Steelers were hell bent on the Eagles not running the ball successfully. And now it gave some one-on-ones. Can anybody cover AJ Brown on the slant? He too sudden and too big. He's too big and too sudden to get that done, like for somebody to cover him. Now, the Eagles have a challenge this week. Everybody just think that it's easy. No, Marshawn Lattimore is back.
Yeah.
St. Juice gives us problems because of his size.
Yeah.
Mikey Sanders still played an amazing game against us last time and played an amazing game this past week. That secondary can be a problem for us. So our defense is going to have to play well because I don't know how well we're going to be able to pass the ball, and we're going to have to rely on the run game a lot in Jalen Hurts because I believe that that the only team that has given us a problem when it comes to passing this entire season was the Commanders.
Yeah.
We were trying to pass on them and we're struggling.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that they completely shut us down, but they went to go get Lattimore for AJ Brown. So that's the matchup of the week right now. The Eagles receivers versus the Commander secondary. Because they got some ballers over there on the secondary. They just became real good with Lattimore being back up. And now Mike Harrison can go back to the slot, which he's really good at. And St. Juice is 6'3.5", 6'4". Yeah. So
Yeah,
they're a problem.
yeah. It's gonna be a good game, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you got Jaden Daniels, and I don't think he was 100% the last time we played him. I think
Yeah.
he's back to close to 100% now, and um, yeah, I'm excited for this game. It's gonna be a good one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really good game. The Eagles got to step up and play because we want to continue that one seed, keeping that alive. Because it's a lot different coming into play and playing a link than anywhere else, right? So let me make sure that before we close this down, Q. Let me make sure that I got all of my points that I want to talk about out. Because I always take a lot of
Before we
notes.
go, man, I also wanted to say I think you hit the nail on the head. Is that this offense, this defense, this team, they can beat you multiple different ways. It doesn't have to be one way anymore. And I think that really bodes well for this team moving forward. They can play ugly, they can play dirty, they can play without players, certain players. They can blitz you, they can cover. I mean, just across the board, I think this team is really, really poised to do some damage because of the way that they can beat you, the multiple ways that they can beat you.
Yeah, no, I agree. I agree. And that's all I had. I think I was able to get everything with here. But yeah, but I'm looking forward to the Commanders. I'm definitely looking forward to. I think this is going to be a run the ball game for us in order for sustained drives, sustain offense, and wear them down. For Christ's sake, let me forgive me, Lord, but for goodness sake, can somebody block Frankie Louvu? Right?
Yeah.
Before for them last time, he was giving us the flux last time.
Yeah.
So block Frankie Louvu and the secondary. We gotta see that, but we gotta be able to run the ball. So that's my prediction there. Q, it's always a pleasure, my man.
Yes, sir. Nice and
Always
quick.
a pleasure. Great game by Jalen Hurts. Great game by AJ Brown. They look unstoppable. Throwing the ball, and our defense is just MVPs of the season. MVPs of this season. I know we want to give it to Saquon. The MVPs of the season is the defense.
We'll take that.
Then Saquon. Yeah.
We'll
But
take
thank
that,
you
man.
guys for tuning in to the Q&A show, to Adam, Jeff, to all the fans that tune in. We appreciate everything that you do for us. And go Birds. Q, you got the last word.
Yeah, man. It's always a pleasure, man. We'll see you guys next week.